The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico and Haan and Paige Clarke.
Well, good morning and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. I'm Paige Clarke, and this is where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
Yes, to regain our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. I'm Nico and Haan.
It is 76 degrees, beautiful, clear, low humidity here in Florida. Hope you're having nice weather where you are. Please subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. Got a hot new one off the press. I got it in my box.
There's one subject in here which men really don't read too much about, but this is a very, very interesting dissertation by Jack Kruse.
My buddy.
Yeah, how women gain time at menopause. Really in-depth analysis here, and you'd be surprised what he talks about in this. So I encourage everybody to read that. It's really cool.
Always a good read.
Yeah, and also pick up our Primal Edge. $89 gets to your door every single month. This is something you really need because it has over 310 cell-ready ingredients, liquid ingredients, that are really easy to assimilate because we start off with the fulvic and humic acid, which we often talk about on the show.
And, I just feel really good because one of my clients called me just to give another testimonial to the Primal Edge that we're traveling a little bit this summer. Said, I just figured maybe I wouldn't take it with me, and caught a little bug, was visiting my brother, and she'd already shipped it up to him. Started taking it again, just kind of flushed everything out. She says, I'm just such a fan. She goes, I feel so great. Yep. So that's good to hear.
I start my day, that's for sure.
So we are taking your phone calls here. So if you're up and at it early, give us a call. Join the conversation, 877-927-6648.
All right.
Hey, I want to talk a little bit today about brain health and or how, this condition of dementia may not, some of the things that are going on with people, it may not actually be dementia. It could be some other things.
Well, I think anytime we're talking about diseases of the brain, there's so many things that we see being accelerated in our society as far as brain diseases. Of course, we have the ADD, we have autism, we have all kinds of things, and I think there's a connection between all of them. That's my own opinion.
Right.
But it seems like it because when they talk about the solutions, they seem very similar when we're talking about natural health.
So this news from GreenMed Info, one of our favorite sources that includes the world's largest database and repository of natural evidence-based medicine, GreenMed Info, the article says 7 conditions that masquerade as dementia, since more than 40% of dementia diagnoses have been shown to be wrong. Here's what may really be going on. Let's get into it, Nico.
Okay. Let's do it.
So, if you imagine this nightmare, for the last few years, your mother has had serious memory problems. She gets lost driving, and we're at that age where, we're taking care of our parents. She repeats the same questions to you over and over. She can't process new information. She loses her train of thought in mid-sentence. A CT scan comes back with a diagnosis of early Alzheimer's. The doctors often prescribe with a little encouragement that it will work. Do you despair, or what's really going on? Is there something else at play?
Yeah, there's a new program at UCLA, and the Buck Institute for Research on Aging offers a new hope. It's the first kind of study of its kind, and researchers have proved that natural therapies can not only slow the process of dementia, but can actually reverse it.
That's the key word there. Natural therapies are involved. The paper's titled Reversal of Cognitive Decline, a novel therapeutic program. And Dr. Dale Bredesen shows how 9 out of the 10 subjects diagnosed with dementia got their minds back.
Yeah.
So see, there is hope if you do the right things, folks.
Yeah, and when we're talking about natural therapies and natural medicine, we're really talking about your diet and your lifestyle. I mean, that's what encompasses natural to me.
And there's some great tips in this article we're going to get to. So, but let's think about it really and truly. Our mental faculty is really kind of at what is the essence of who we are and our life experience while we're having this spiritual journey in this
And I
body vehicle.
remember going back about 30 or 40 years when people got this condition, we kind of assumed it was a natural part of aging. Well, you're getting old and your body naturally deteriorates, and sooner or later, if you're unlucky and your genes are wrong, then your mind starts going.
Yeah, they wanted us to think that.
Yeah.
You're unlucky, you can't do anything, it's in your genes, which we now know that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a drug that'll keep the symptoms at bay. But of course, as they say, there's no cure. Well, that's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a cure and reversal.
Yeah.
But to continue that comment that there is no cure, it allows that big market to open up for any new drugs.
Mm-hmm. Also, what I think about is that when you're in this state of what they call pre-Alzheimer's, there's a lot of these new pre-diseases.
Oh, they're just lining you up there.
Yeah, but what it says to me is that what you lose is your independence. Now you become dependent on not only somebody else, you may be dependent on a drug, you may be dependent on your doctor or the healthcare system instead of being independent. For yourself.
Well, let's get a little more information on this Dr. Bredesen that did this research. Professor of Neurology at the Mary S. Eaton Center for Alzheimer's Disease Research at UCLA, as well as a professor at the Buck Institute. And the study was supported by multiple entities, including the National Institute of Health. Mm-hmm. So as we know, cognitive decline is a major fear as we age, and according to the Alzheimer's Association, dementia is a general term for loss of memory or other mental abilities severe enough to interfere with daily life.
And Alzheimer's disease, just one of the many forms of dementia. So the whole package is dementia, but there are different forms. One is the Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what the other things are, but I think...
well, the projections are that Alzheimer's will continue to grow to 160 million people globally, including 13 million Americans. There is no effective treatment, so they say. Mm-hmm. And it is already the third leading cause of death in the U.S. But let's we're going to talk about another article that starts to point where's the smoking gun in this rapid increase to something to become the third leading cause of death when maybe 60, 70 years ago we didn't even know of Alzheimer's. It became a relatively new phenomenon. Yeah. And I think you're going to find out it's what Nico and I have been preaching for quite some time. It's the sugars and the insulins and the insulin resistance and the packaged foods and the resultant insulin resistance at the brain level.
And
diabetes type 3, they say.
One thing I noticed, too, as you get older and you lose your taste buds, which is very common, that all of a sudden you start eating these simpler foods, which you think are simpler, but they're simple carbs.
Exactly.
And
that is a key sign, by the way, Nico, of oncoming dementia is a loss of taste.
Okay.
And that's a warning sign to heed. There's also some other things. This may come up in the article, but it just popped into my head. Also, there are a couple genes that predispose you. One is having an APOE4 in the 3-4 combinations, which, with the right recipe, that can result in Alzheimer's. We're going to continue this.
Some of the answers are really into as far as what you do to get rid of this stuff. The answers are in there.
We are powerful, and there's lots of stuff we can do.
That's right.
We'll be right back after this break.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, Life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back. And we're talking about cognitive decline as a major fear as we age. And dementia is the general term for the loss of memory and the mental abilities that kind of decline. And this Dr. Bredesen, I think his name is, believes that there are multiple factors influence the development of dementia and Alzheimer's. In a small study, he and his colleagues designed personal and comprehensive protocols to reverse memory loss in 10 patients. And the results were kind of remarkable. 9 of the 10 participants showed improvement in their memory within 3 to 6 months of starting the program. 6 patients had to discontinue working or they were struggling with their jobs, and they joined the study. All of them were able to return to work and continue working with improved performance.
And only one patient, the one that was diagnosed with very late stage Alzheimer's, did not improve.
Yeah, so everybody improved except that one person.
So they used a systematic approach in treating these patients, and they developed a complex 36-point therapeutic program that included
changes in diet, brain stimulation, exercise, optimization of sleep, specific pharmaceutical and vitamins, and multiple additional steps to affect brain chemistry. So in other words, they changed their lifestyle.
That's exactly right. And this is a quote from the Dr. Bredesen. The existing Alzheimer's drugs affect a single target, but Alzheimer's disease is more complex. It's multifactorial. Imagine having a roof with 36 holes in it, and your drug patches one hole very well. And the drug may have worked, a single hole may have been fixed, but you still have 35 other holes, leaks. So the underlying process may not be affected so much.
Right. So his approach on extensive testing of each patient to determine what is affecting the signaling network, and that's really what we're talking about, because when this happens, the signaling to the brain is impaired.
Well, what I like about this, we're going to go through some of these things. We've got a sample protocol of what he created for one of his patients, but sounds like he's been listening to Paige and Nico and living a primal lifestyle.
It does to me,
It sounds like the lifestyle that we've been telling you. So let's start with it. The protocol is then personalized, a sample protocol one of his patients includes, number one, Nico?
Eliminating all simple carbohydrates.
That's right.
That's the number one thing in our realm, too. When we say, okay, what's the first thing we need to do? Get rid of those simple carbs, and that's the sugar, the bread, and pasta, and all those things that don't look like their original self.
And more specifically, eliminating gluten and processed foods.
Yeah, and that's any kind of processed food. So if you're processing meat or fat, when we say processed foods, a lot of times we just think about the carbohydrates, and then we kind of think about the meat that's processed, sausages and things like that. But the other processed food that's very detrimental are those oils, those things called vegetable oils, which
That's
are
right.
seed oils.
Correct.
And these are rancid. They're not in their natural form. They've been highly heated to get their chemical process changed so they can remain in that form. And they're just bad. And that's, when you're talking about processed foods, that's the number one.
That's at the top of the list.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
you on that. Yeah. So increase your vegetables, fruits, and non-farmed fish.
I like that they say non-farmed fish because we've been talking about those farmed fish. And
Exactly.
every restaurant has the farmed fish.
Well, those farmed fish are eating processed foods.
Exactly.
So
and that's
we
why
want to get back to the wild foods.
So the same thing that is happening to the people who have Alzheimer's and eating processed foods probably happening to the fish. They're not as smart anymore. They don't know where they're going. None of them are driving anymore.
That's right. Yeah, they're at the back of the school.
That's right. They're taking the bus. So
here's another one.
Yeah,
reducing
stress and with yoga and meditation. And Qigong is another one I think of. Any type of exercise that gets you
Meditative
mindful.
actions. It can
Walking.
It can simply be a forest bath. Remember
Yes.
taking that time. Here's
Correct.
one they have: taking melatonin each night. I think that we've had a number of conversations, because I know my sweet Dr. Marshall was very much a fan of Walter Peripoli's work in Italy that showed specifically for women that melatonin was a great antioxidant for protecting us from the ravages of aging, especially when we're exposed to electromagnetic stuff.
Yes.
But another simple solution would be to do that little nighttime shot of Montmorency tart cherry juice, because cherry juice has high antioxidants and is a stimulant to melatonin production.
Yeah, and so is honey, actually. If you take a little spoonful of
But
honey,
what's even better?
you darken everything up an hour before you go to bed.
And get up early enough to stare at the sun, or in the direction of the sun at sunrise, because it is the sunrise hours prior to the vitamin D cycle production times, in the early full spectrum UVA time, when we make our melatonin. Folks, listen to what I'm saying. If you avoid the early morning sun, you're not utilizing the sun as the natural programmer for producing melatonin for sleep at night.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And the thing is, too, that morning sun is very protective, because you're looking through a lot of our atmosphere, and during a grand solar minimum, where the atmosphere is much thinner, this helps it, because then you're going sideways through the atmosphere, so you're really getting much more protection, and that's why the sun at midday is the worst for you, because you have
true.
direct sunlight.
With my, I don't want to get off, but let's bring that up another time, because you and I are just both fascinated with that. So we talked about, melatonin stimulation at night. You want to make sure you're getting that melatonin release, so you want to increase your sleep. Instead of 4 to 5 hours, try to get 7 or 8.
7 or 8, right. And I've been getting wonderful sleep with that Calm from the
Dr. Minkoff's product.
Yeah, it's really helped. Magnesium, I take that just before I have a little tea.
What I like about Dr. Minkoff's is that it totally sparkles down to a clear water, where other magnesiums look chalky and so forth. It makes you want to drink it.
Yes, it does.
It's very refreshing. I agree with you.
So increasing their sleep is really important.
Taking the right forms of B vitamins. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, about why you might want to take cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin or
Which is
adenosine
vitamin
cobalamin.
B12.
Vitamin B12. You need to have a B12 that you can absorb. You got to get adequate vitamin D, and then these cell energizers such as CoQ10 and healthy marine oils such as DHA, preferably from fresh seafood.
Yeah, and of course, if you take the Primal Edge, you've got all that stuff first thing in the morning right there.
You got it.
Optimizing your oral hygiene using electric flosser or electric toothbrushes.
Not a free radical damage happening with bacterial immune system and inflammation happening at the gums.
And of course, electric things for this purpose is pretty good because they have kind of proven that you do brush your teeth longer, so you stimulate your gums better with electric. I stopped using electric. I have this magnesium type, which uses the ions,
yes.
which is very interesting.
The ionic,
it works
yes.
really well. I like that too. So there's lots of different things. Now, here's something I didn't understand quite: hormone replacement therapy. This is just for women?
Oh, I know. I'm sure they're talking about for men and women because, you know, that's the big thing. You know, you made that comment just for women. I mean, men lose their hormones too.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think you're complaining that it's cold at night and maybe Ellen's saying I'm hot? You know, usually it's like we switch spots from when we were in our 20s.
Okay.
Because it's really about the estrogen dominance.
Yeah.
And as the estrogen becomes dominant in men, they get cold. But with women, as they become estrogen dominant, they get hot.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a good
interesting.
explanation.
But again, you know, that's a question too, because hormone replacement therapy, we want to restore hormone function, not necessarily replace. That's kind of might be a short-term thing till we can find other ways.
Yeah, and we have more on this we're going to do after the show. I just wanted to go back to the health folks. You know, getting the Health Signals newsletter is important, mainly for articles like this. It's a very extensive article. I think you'll find it very interesting. It doesn't apply just to women, too, and that's the important part.
Yeah, good
so
stuff.
We'll be right back.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back. Living a Primal Lifestyle. We're talking about how to keep your brain nice and sharp. We went through some of the tips, and as we said before the break, it's amazingly similar and stark, reinforcement of the lifestyle that we've been teaching and sharing and trying to adopt for ourselves. So let's finish up these last couple things. After hormone replacement therapy or restoration, I'd like to say, is balancing naturally. Fasting for a minimum of 12 hours between dinner and breakfast, giving that body that time to do the repair.
Yeah, and they also mentioned fasting for a minimum of 3 hours between dinner and bedtime. So you've got that full 12 hours. You add that 3 to the 8. And then by the time you get up and do your morning salutation to the sun and everything like that, it's 12 hours and you can go ahead and eat.
And if you can make that a little bit more, that's all the better. Because the real truth is that if your body is busy digesting food, then it's not going to be using those crucial protein enzymes to be cleaning up the damage. And amyloid plaque in the brain is part of that damage that needs to be cleaned up. And then finally, of the tips that here, or the part of the programs used by Dr. Dresden, was exercising for a minimum of 30 minutes, 4 to 6 times a day. Doesn't take much.
Per week.
Oh, per week. I'm sorry. Yeah, that'd be a lot. 4 to 6 days per week. You know, I like to tell people if they're having a hard time figuring it out, just walk out the door for 15 minutes. Then they got to walk back.
Exactly.
So they're not thinking, you know.
They say the downside of this program is this complexity. I see it pretty simple myself. There's just a few rules you have to follow. It may be that
it's very low in side effects.
Yeah. No side effects at all because we're really not taking any drugs. They do mention prescriptions in here, but they mention it as an aside along with vitamins.
Right.
So I'm thinking it's a little different than
I'm sure that there's options where you don't have to have a prescriptions. But remember, when you're a mainstream doctor and you want to try and introduce things that work, just like what they did to Dr. Brzezinski, where they said, okay, you can continue your anti-neoplaston therapy, cancer stuff, but you got to combine it with chemo.
Correct. So they call this program Sharp Again Naturally, and there's a .org for that, sharpagain.org. It's a nonprofit organization formed in 2012 to educate the public and the medical community about the reversible causes.
Of dementia.
Causes.
Yeah, here are 7 areas that Sharp Again Naturally suggests you investigate before you accept dementia as a diagnosis. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, who says you have to accept your diagnoses? Diagnosis is just someone taking a swag, a scientific, I won't say that word on the layer, but
well, you have to look at it differently, too, because I remember when my sister got cancer and she called it her dilemma. You know, I thought that was a very negative thing that she put on herself. This is her dilemma, and she has to make choices. For me, choices are always the pointing me in the right directions. So I don't look at it as a dilemma. I look at it, okay, what can I learn from this, and how can I improve myself? And I want to do it as naturally as possible. So you know, that's the way I think about that.
So these are conditions that may cause memory loss and dementia, but can be reversed. So let's go through that. Number 1, nutritional imbalances and deficiencies.
Yeah. We talked about the vitamin B12. We talked about vitamin C, magnesium.
The proper omegas.
Yeah. And
selenium, you know, stops free radical damage. Probiotics, these all are nutrients that frequently cause symptoms of Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah, and they mentioned the Mediterranean-style diet here, and I think that's very good because if you're looking at the Mediterranean-style diet as we look at it, you're talking about fermented foods. You're talking about if you're going to eat grains, you probably sprout them. So they're talking about a very natural way of eating, maybe including some foods that Paige and I would not be eating, but if you're cooking them right, preparing them right, you can use these things. And it won't bother you as much.
Exactly. I think it's on the right side of the scale in any case. Also, the studies show that low vitamin D levels are linked to Alzheimer's and mental decline. Low folate, huge, and these can lead to cognitive decline. And both of these are so easy to do. Vitamin D, get out in the sun some more, as we've been saying. We are solar, voltaic, electrical beings. We need this sun. And your B vitamins, we've loaded them in the Primal Edge. B vitamins are crucial. They're water soluble. You have to get them from your diet, and you get them from once living animal-based foods for the most part.
Then they add coconut oil, maybe rescue a brain from Alzheimer's. Of course, we talked about that with that doctor that fed her husband coconut oil.
Dr. Mary.
And also turmeric. So these are things that you can use in your food. And when I think about coconut oil, I think about fat. Pardon me?
Yeah, in your spice cabinet.
Yeah, spice cabinet.
Fats and spices. Now, again, we're coming back to seeing why does a Mediterranean diet, why is a paleo diet? Because they're rich in phytonutrients from the spices. They're rich in the healthy fats.
Yeah, and then, of course, doing away with things like artificial food colorings.
Yeah, this is number 2, the artificial food colorings, flavors, and sweeteners.
Yeah, and artificial food colorings, this is something that are added to products by not you usually in the packaged food.
So if you're getting rid of the packaged foods, you're not going to have that exposure.
And trying to substitute sugar because you like that sweet taste, our deal is always trying to change our palate so we don't want those sweets anymore. Much more natural, but there are some good substitutes out there.
I'm not a big fan of eliminating any of the 5 tastes. I think we need to have sweet, but it's not the way we have it with pancakes in the morning, a dessert after lunch, and ice cream before you go to bed. That's where we get into trouble, where we're having it way out of balance with the other flavors.
Exactly, right. Prescription medication have side effects, so you can scale back on those with your doctor's advice.
They can really disrupt cognition. So statins are particularly harmful. Very dear to my heart. I believe a statin is one of those billion-dollar crimes against humanity, the top-selling drug. One study from the University of California said 90% of patients who stopped taking statin drugs reported improvement in cognitive problems in a matter of weeks.
And many doctors are doing that to their patients.
And many people that had diagnoses of Alzheimer's, after they went off of their statins, their diagnoses were reversed. Are we seeing the cause and effect here? Alzheimer's started growing in the last 50 years. In the last 50 years, we started prescribing these dangerous statin drugs. Hello.
Cause and effect.
Exactly.
Inflammation from low levels infections such as mold, food allergies, and Lyme disease. These are things that may be lurking around the corner that you really don't know you have, but mold is the most common thing in households these days. You look under your kitchen cabinet sometimes where the plumbing is, and the mold can form in there, and that can really affect you. So you have to look at those things too.
That's actually one of the first things in the tenets of natural medicine, naturopathic. I call it the original medicine, the real medicine. People, getting to the source of inflammation, and what we find it is usually has an infective source. It might be a bacteria, it might be a virus, it might be a fungal infection, molds, toxicities. These can really wreak havoc in the body.
Yeah, so we've got a few more things to go over in this, and I find this very interesting because, we're really talking about lifestyle. It's very empowering. It's, again, telling us that lifestyle is the key ingredients here, which means your diet and how you move around on planet Earth. So,
and I see so many people our age are talking about, my mom has dementia. I'm like, do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't just accept it. Let's do something. We are powerful, and we have a full page of stuff to share with you. So we'll be right back
now,
after this break.
I want to share the Primal Edge with you, folks. We'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tom O'Brien has just announced that he'll be coming to Boston September 30th for a free workshop, The Art of Timing the Trade. Join Tom O'Brien Saturday morning, September 30th at the Boston Marriott in Burlington, Massachusetts, as he breaks down his trading methodology and provides you with the tools to become a more successful and profitable trader. Everyone that attends in person will receive a free signed copy of Tom's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. Daryl Martin from Apex Investing Institute will also be presenting for 90 minutes at this free event.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Join me in Boston on September 30th as I return to my hometown for a workshop about the art of timing the trade. I look forward to seeing all the tigers and tigresses for this special free event.
All action starts early at 7:30 a.m. with a continental breakfast and wraps up at about 1 p.m. Topics that Tom will be covering during his presentation include quality volume, cause and effect, ABC structures, swing points, and much, much more. For all the information on this free Boston event taking place Saturday, September 30th, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back. We've been going through this list of Sharp Again Naturally. It's a nonprofit organization formed in 2012 to educate the public and the medical community. I think that's important to note that. And the first one was the nutritional imbalances and deficiency. Number 2 was artificial food colorings, flavors, and sweeteners. Prescription drugs and side effects, medication is number 3. Number 4 is inflammation from low-level infections, mold, food allergies, and Lyme disease. And then we're at number 5 right now, and we're talking about lifestyle. This is talking about movement.
Stress and stagnation, and really stress could be the overlier of all of these things.
Yeah.
It's a stress when you have a bacterial or fungal infection.
And
it's a stress when you're taking a toxic prescription.
Sure.
It's a stress if you're eating artificial flavorings. So really stress should almost be like the overlier. But we can get stressed and stagnate and be lazy and inactive and have an injury or something and not get back up on the wagon again and
one
working
of
out
the things
and stuff.
I think of right away is, of course, we had about 8 days of stagnation because of the storm going through here, getting shut up into the house for a while. And boy, did I feel better when I got back on the mat and had a couple of hours jiu-jitsu last Thursday.
Yeah, and I told you that I've been on my yoga mat every single day.
So this helps you get your brain right. This is what I think forms how you think when you're walking, when you're exercising.
And how you adapt to the stress, because stress elevates cortisol levels and it leads to inflammation. And in turn, this creates hormone imbalances and cognitive impairment. It raises your blood sugar level, the real culprit in cardiovascular disease, high insulin levels, irritating the vasculature of the body, raising blood pressure to get blood flow going, and creates a delay in healing time. It's just bad news, folks.
So
it creates a susceptible to disease.
You're not moving. All these things happen to you, and the way to get out of that funk is start moving. Simple as that. It really...
because we've got to have the body's fluids moving. And we have 2 systems, right? We have the blood circulatory system, but we have the lymph circulatory system. And that gets excluded by a lot of times.
Yes,
and you can't move lymph unless there's some up and down movement.
Right, and just stress alone can raise your blood pressure and do those things that exercise can do, but it's not the same as the movement. The movement is what really works good.
Guys, the reason Nico and I wanted to share this list is because research shows that patients that are younger than 65, 41% of dementia diagnoses were incorrect. So this is what we're saying. And you know, I've heard of different people who have gotten diagnoses in their 50s and 60s, incredibly, with Alzheimer's. What we're saying is it's really not that. It's one of these other things, and that's why you want to work with a well-trained holistic doctor who looks at the whole picture.
Yeah, and the misdiagnosis usually occurs in patients that already have some type of depression or they abuse alcohol.
Well, we know that depression is an allergic reaction to inflammation in the brain.
Okay.
And we know that alcoholism depletes nutrients such as the B vitamins and, you know, the toxicity of the alcohol itself. So let's go to number 6.
Number 6 of 7, the thyroid and other hormonal imbalances.
This is huge right here.
And I think it's one of the most confusing aspects when people say hormones. Everybody goes,
Well, the thyroid is a hormone too.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is something that's really near to my heart because I'm real passionate about the thyroid madness in this country. There's actually a website, very informative, called Stop the Thyroid Madness. But many people diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia simply have low levels of T3. T3 is the active form of thyroid hormone. Okay. This is so huge because you go to any nursing home, and as the nurse, and I know this because my mom's a nurse who used to work in nursing homes, you know, they go with their little cart of meds.
Yeah.
The cash cow for all these nursing home people, right? And they're doling out their Alzheimer's and, you know, drugs and everything. The truth is they almost all are on a useless thyroid medicine. Maybe they've diagnosed them as hypothyroid because pretty much everyone is at that age. Yeah. And they put them on Synthroid, which is a synthetic, or levothyroxine, which is a T4 supplement. Well, if you're an old person and you have poor digestion and stuff, you're not making that conversion. You're selenium deficient. You're chlorine and fluoride toxic. So you don't make that conversion from the storage form of T4 to T3. T3 is what gives you a sharp brain and allows you to think. So standard thyroid tests completely miss T3 levels. And Synthroid, or levothyroxine, now T4 is the natural thing, but Synthroid and levothyroxine are T4 only medications. If you do have a thyroid issue, much better way to approach it is to work with a doctor who understands that natural thyroid medicines that contain T1, T2, T3, and T4 is a much better approach. Yeah. Or just supplement with T3 specifically, because that's what really we need. We very rarely are deficient in the storage hormone. But that's a whole talk in itself.
Yeah. And number 7 is mercury and other heavy metal poisonings. Of course, we know there's heavy metals in fish and lots of probably land animals too, because it's in our environment. So this is definitely a problem. And if you have all these other things that are bad,
much more concerned about the so-called silver amalgam fillings that we were all sold. That you know.
Yeah,
case of disaster.
Because there's actually gas that is emitted from these amalgams.
Well, first of all, the word silver should not be used. There's a very small amount of silver in these fillings. They're an amalgam, an amalgamation of metals, and then primary metal is mercury. Right. And if your filling in your mouth fell out of your mouth and landed in the pond in your backyard, they would have to call hazmat. But it's okay to have this mercury inches from your brain.
Doesn't make any sense.
Only makes sense if you don't think about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Some of the other things they talk about here, too, are annual flu shots are another source of these toxins.
Research they're loaded with their mercury.
Exactly, yeah. The research shows that people who took a flu shot for 5 consecutive years have a 10-time or 1,000 more % higher risk of Alzheimer's disease than people who had only 1 or 2 flu shots. And probably even higher if you didn't have any flu shots.
Who does this anymore? Does anyone out there take a flu shot?
Yeah, let's see in
the chat room. I hope somebody tells me no.
Nobody's showing up right now.
Yeah, you know, guys, I mean, a flu shot is just say no to the flu shot. We'll be offering, for some people, if they want to, we'll be offering our all flu like we always do. But because we're in Florida, we tend to start working on it.
November.
Yeah, October. You know, I'd like to get going by the end of the month of October, start that immunization. natural immunity through homeopathy.
So the last thing in this article says that most doctors are not experts in these cases of dementia or how to treat them. Sharp Again Naturally, which is that website, sharpagain.org, is building a medical advisory board and a database to get the word out. So that's a good site to go into.
And who's on that database? It's going to be functional medicine doctors, naturopathic doctors.
Not the drug companies.
Yeah. I would imagine not. Or doctors who practice integrative, holistic medicine. These are the people that get us well. And these are the people you want on your team when you build your healthcare team. Because you're the quarterback. They're just part of your team.
Well, we're right back, folks. Take time, please, to look at my Health Signals newsletter, brand new issue out here. And Nora Gagatas always asks the question, how much fat do you eat? We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of The Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV. But if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
So hey there, Nico and I've been talking about some different ways that you might explore whether or not cognitive decline is Alzheimer's and what you can do about it. Real quickly, before we give you some tips on 4 sugar alternatives that won't poison you to introduce into your diet, I wanted to just really share, and I'm not going to go into the detail, a research paper that I came across that said insulin resistance as a link between amyloid beta and tau pathologies in Alzheimer's disease. And the cliff notes of this, folks, is that diabetes type 3 is synonymous with Alzheimer's disease. It's severe. insulin resistance beyond a systemic. It has crossed the blood-brain barrier. The brain is not able to get the glucose. And again, remember, our body's capable through ketones to make the glucose for the brain even if you don't eat any carbohydrates. The key, though, is the dysfunction in the ability of the brain to be fueled. Great article, kind of not a good one to kind of go over here, but I want you to realize that when we say let's work on looking at insulin resistance, Nico and I are going to be talking a lot more about the diabetes epidemic. And many of you know that we have one, but it's even bigger than what you know. And I made a post on Facebook, if 1 in 3 persons is going to have diabetes by 2050, it's really more that then it's going to be more that like 1.89 people out of 2 is going to have it, because a huge amount of people are being told at their doctors that everything's fine, their cholesterol's high, but their sugars look fine, and they're not. And the gold standard for diabetes diagnosis is the Dr. Clarke's test. It's a glucose tolerance test with insulin assays. We're going to get you up to speed on that so that you can take control, because, as Dr. Clarke said, a person who has a heart attack is just an undiagnosed diabetic. Did we kind of go into that?
Yeah.
Is this clock going to be doing that same thing where we're going to have another 3 minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, one of the things I wanted to, this article is interesting.
Yeah.
This was interesting to me that weight loss clubs and diet pills popped up in the 1970s, and that's when I started my personal training. Cabbage soup and liquid diets in the 1980s, the zone diet and the blood type diets in the 1990s, in the aughts, the Atkins diet and the gluten-free, and here we are in the 2010s, and it's paleo, raw, and local. So that's how our diets have changed. The other interesting thing was what we are not eating as much of, and we've declined the potatoes and the refined sugar, and beef is another one that we've declined. Eggs, eating less eggs and drinking less milk, less full-fat ice cream, and less margarine, which is good.
So some of those things are good choices, some not so much.
Cooking oils, I'm not sure what they mean. They probably mean the bad oils. So this is what's increasing. A lot of people are eating much more chicken.
They're eating more chicken. They're eating more cooking oils. That could be very disturbing. And more corn sweeteners, more corn products, because it's the most populous.
More rice and yogurt. So the trend is not good either.
Yeah, it's not a good trend.
This trend is pretty good, but this trend is not as good.
I think that trend, the good trend, is
not a good trend. Chicken, first of all, is not a great meat. The dark part of it isn't as bad, but the chicken breast is basically a useless piece of garbage as far as I'm concerned.
Well, just as a nutshell too, guys, you may think that staying slim and eating healthy means no sweets. And unless you're one of those 1 in 2, and I'm going to say it's really pushing almost 2 out of 2 of us that are really having insulin issues and glucose tolerance problems, you need to avoid sweets or limit sweets. Sweets are supposed to be a small part of our diet, but there are natural and delicious sweeteners that you won't wreck your diet and can even be good for you.
Yeah, the main ones you want to get rid of are the aspartame, the equal, this sucralose, Splenda, and those things. There are some natural ones like honey.
Honey and stevia. Stevia is an herb, and
those are the 2 I would recommend.
These can be used to be healthful. So, guys, hope you have a wonderful week and stay healthy, and I guess we'll see you next show.
Next show. Thanks a lot, Bob. See you later.
Thank you.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.